back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge, and let's talk horror. Today, we are doing the very first ever franchise ranking where I have two of my best friends. I have Michael Coulombe and Charlotte Horton. How you guys doing today?
We're good. We're awesome. How are you, Mr. Ken
I'm doing
Sledge?
very well. So good to have you guys back on. If you guys haven't watched their episodes of My First Horror Movie, make sure you go and check it out. Now, before we get started on our franchise ranking, I would like to talk a little bit about what you guys have been up to. You guys may notice the badass hat I have on. You can check that out. Michael, where can they purchase this beauty at?
You can just go to michaelcoulombe.com/photography. Then I have a merchandise button right there. It's for my photography. And that's why I gave you one, because you're one of my best friends. You're going to get one too. Don't worry.
You promise? Can I wear yours? Can I try it on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to try.
Look at that.
Oh, it looks good on you.
You just sold 10 more hats by doing that.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
So to make it easier for you guys, I have the links down here in the description. I absolutely adore this hat. You guys have seen me wear it multiple times in multiple different episodes. As well as while you're there, make sure you're going to sledgehammerhorror.com. Also down here in the description, make sure you're checking out the merchandise we got there. Charlotte, what's going on in your life? What you got coming up here soon?
So I actually have a few projects I'm going to be working on. I'm under an NDA, so I can't say too much about them, but I have a few horror films coming up. I'm working with Big M Entertainment. The CEO is Marvin Williams, who's a good friend of mine, and I'm extremely excited. The last year, I think in October, my first movie aired called The Call with Lynn Shay and Tobin Bell.
That's Jeffrey's movie. You know it's Jeffrey's movie.
Yeah.
We produced it.
Yeah.
So I'm in the opening scene. I think a few of my scenes were cut, but I went to the premiere and it was so exciting. Because we watched it in a drive-in movie theater and it was great. And the other projects I have coming up will mostly be horror movies. Mm-hmm. So with Big M Entertainment, Captured is in post-production. We have a movie that I will possibly be producing and acting in called Avenue M. Very exciting. And there's a few projects I can't talk about, but they're very exciting. And he's a very gifted director, writer, producer, Marvin Williams. And anything I do with Michael too is always like godsend. I'm like, please, Michael, work with me.
Well, as soon as you can talk about these, please let me know so I can let everybody else know. And if you guys don't want to wait for me, make sure you're following Charlotte. I got her links down here in the description as well. That way you can get any up-to-the-minute updates from her. I'm very excited about the things she has coming up. And before we get started, Michael, we want to talk about something you have coming up as well, the Central Authority, something I'm a big fan of. Have we gotten any release dates on this yet?
I actually don't have any information on it. You probably know more than I do because you've interviewed like everybody from the movie.
I have.
You probably know more than I do. I do know it's supposed. I honestly think that we'll probably know more about the movie probably either next month or just at the beginning of the year. Is what I'm thinking. But
once we do know everything, I'm going to have a big Zoom interview with all the cast and crew so we can have a big update on everybody. So something you guys really should be looking forward to because this is a whole lot of fun. I was lucky enough to be able to catch the film, and I hope that you guys like it as much as I did.
And you watched the movie?
I did watch the movie.
You know, I don't act a lot, and that's one of the first things I did as an actor.
That's right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you got to see me as a plant. Most people don't know. It's a silly role for me. So
it's a waste of your
everybody's
time.
gonna love it. The way that you guys filmed this movie, the way that it's produced, the way that you guys cut everything together, it's amazing. It's fun. Such an amazing movie. So, but let's get into the reason why we're here. Today we are doing our franchise ranking of Final Destination. We are ranking from
which is one of my favorite franchises.
The best favorite. Yes. That's why when we talked about it, what franchise do we want to do? It was pretty easy to settle on that one. So first, we're all going to start with our least favorite. Charlotte, I'm going to start with you. In the Final Destination franchise, what is your least favorite?
I already know this one.
The Final Destination, which would be the third movie that was in 3D. That would be my least favorite.
Her least favorite is number 3, bro.
What about you, Michael? What's your least favorite?
My least favorite is number 4.
That's hard.
No, but I think it's because like of all the movies, like number 4 is the one I've seen the least. It's like if I don't watch it, I'm fine. Because I like roller coasters, so I think in number 3, that's why I like it because roller coasters, I know how scary they are. Plus, I have a friend that's in the movie, so I feel like if I say it's the worst, he'll hate me.
Well, see, and one of my things is I want to stress this at the beginning. When I talk about shitty characters, I get this a lot. There's a lot of Final Destination characters that fucking suck. I hate them. That is also a huge huge compliment to the actors that play these parts.
You
If I
hate
say
him.
that this character sucks, that means the actor is doing their job and making me hate this character. So when I say I don't like a character, that is not me saying I dislike the actor. It's actually a tribute to how much I do like the actor, which comes into play for my least favorite Final Destination movie. Final Destination 4 is my least favorite as well. I think that the only two redeeming qualities in this movie are George. I think that his story is really good, how he's a recovering alcoholic. He lost his wife and his daughter in the car crash because he was drunk driving. And Hunt's pool death, when he's dying at the bottom of the pool. Fuck that guy. He's one of the worst characters in any movie of all time. Those are the two coolest scenes. But for me, what I did not like about Final Destination 4, the 3D in it, the CGI is just absolutely god awful. The deaths in it look terrible. You also have the terrible characters. Huh?
It's almost like they rushed it.
They did actually. Yeah. I think, and I can't speak on it since I don't know the producers or the editors, but I think that it was pushed forward more so than it probably should have been.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just look at it, even in production wise, when you got, I think it's the worst opening scene when you have the deaths in that opening scene, everything from the tire to the cement block falling down to the thing going through the guy's mouth. You guys are watching these scenes right now, so it's not in order, but when you got these scenes, they just look really, really bad in comparison to the other films. And I don't know if that's attributed to the 3D or the CGI effects that they were using, but I think the deaths looked really, really bad in this film. So that's why, for me, Final Destination 4 is my least favorite in the franchise, as well as you have the guy Carter, which I don't like. You already had a guy named Carter in the first one. I know that's kind of nitpicky, but his death when he's trying to be racist to George and plant the upside down cross, and he gets drugged and lit on fire. Yeah, and it's why can't we be friends? Like, it's too comedy for me, and I don't like that whole shticky. I like slapstick, stuff like that, but not in this type of movie. I didn't think that fit in this, the whole overall theme of this movie. I thought that scene was really, really out of place.
Yeah. Well, if the series had set that up as being a horror comedy, it could have worked.
Like the Nightmare on Elm Street,
the
original.
But like it's not. Like, it's meant to be like death is coming back to get what it was supposed to claim the first time. So people look at it, I think, as a serious movie. And so once you start throwing in like comedy, people go, I don't understand what's happening right now.
It's a very campy death too.
Yeah.
And especially when that's the only comedic death in the movie. I mean, Hunt, even though I don't like Hunt, that death was terrifying. The thought of being stuck at the bottom of that pool, and just, your insides getting sucked out, like that's like a lot of the other parts were terrifying. So that's why I personally didn't connect with that scene. So we disagreed here a little bit. Now let's go to our second least favorite, number 4. I'm gonna start with you this time, Michael. Which one comes in at number 4 for you?
Number 3.
What about you,
4 and then 3? But only because, like, of all the ones, I like all the ones for other reasons. But number 3. Again, the roller coaster, terrifying. But like that could have been avoided with the whole camera thing being, it's whatever. I guess as a photographer, I get terrified.
The camera was tossed, right?
Yeah, the camera falls out of his hand and wraps around the court.
Yeah.
But again, number 3 is probably like my second to least favorite.
What about you, Charlotte? Your second to least favorite?
Honestly, originally I thought it was number 2, but I might have to side with Michael.
No, you hate number 3, so it has to be number 4.
I do. No, it's got to be number 2. To be honest with you.
Really?
Number 2.
Really?
It's got to be number 2. So out of all the opening death scenes, so you have the plane crash and Final Destination, which scares the bejesus out of me to this day. Yeah. I'm terrified to fly on planes. You have the roller coaster incident. You have the incident with the car racing, which is actually a historical recreation of what happened in 1955 with the Le Mans race, where the cars literally went off, something happened, and they went over, and I think 80 people were killed.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and then you have something else. And that something else is something that I don't know if I even want to.
Well, number two was the log
truck.
Yeah, no, you have the truck, you have the roller coaster, you have the car crash, but my favorite, I mean, well, of course, the bridge scene, but I think the weakest movie, in my opinion, was the 3D Final Destination. I wasn't a fan of the third and fourth, but I did give the second a chance. I genuinely did. excited to see that because I love the first so much.
Right.
So it's so hard to do these rankings because I love the series.
I know. I love the series overall.
It's so
Michael goes 4-3. Charlotte goes 3-2. Ken goes 4-3. I agree with you, Michael. I think 3
We're
is.
counting in reverse.
Yes. No, we're starting with least favorite to most favorite.
Yes. So
Intrigued about what happens after this.
So
for 3, the only real saving grace for 3 to me, honestly, is the tanning bed scene. I think that is so terrifying.
That was terrific. What about the acupuncture though? That was terrifying though.
Yeah, but acupuncture's in 5, the last one.
Well, that's because I love 5.
Yeah.
But see, I think when it comes to the deaths, I think that the tanning bed one is one of those ones that, and here's my opinion on it, it would be terrible to be in that situation and be in that tanning bed and cook yourself alive. But at the same time, and I hate to say it like this, these two were, Ashley and Ashlyn, were 2 of the worst characters, and they really brought this on
they needed to
themselves.
go. I know. It's like
they gotta go.
You're like, these
like,
bitches.
well, they came in with their drinks, which they were told not to do. They were told not to mess with the stuff. They messed with the stuff. And Death was like, bitch, we told you not to do this stuff, and you did it anyway. So that's why that scene is really memorable to me. But this is another movie where it really got bogged down by the bad-looking CGI and the characters. Even the main girl, like, I didn't dislike her, but I think she's one of my least favorites in all of the main characters and all the Final Destinations. And, man, the roller coaster scene, I honestly think it's the weakest out of all the openings. Like, I even think the NASCAR one was a little bit stronger. But it's, to me, and then some of the other deaths, like the weightlifting death, I thought, that one it looked really bad the way the weights came down and crushed his head, which sucks.
I love that death, though.
I thought it was so bad.
I know, but that's such a great death.
So
I like the death, but I don't like the way they did it, which sucks because if you watch the special features, they had a practical dummy and it did it, and then they just put so much CGI over top of it that it just completely ruins how it looks. Right. And if you watch the end,
Final Destination make it so much more interesting, especially not to jump or cut corners or interrupt, but if you watch the opening of Final Destination 5, behind the scenes, and they show you how the bridge scene was done.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I sound like I'm playing favorites because I am.
Okay, that's what this is, a ranking video.
But the CG behind it, there was a more limited use of CG in 5 than there were in the previous movies, and I'm not sure if it was due to lack of technology or budget.
Mm-hmm. They probably were just realizing that they needed to make them better. I don't know.
Right. Well, the CG, the thing about 5 is it really, really plays into how you can use practical effects and CGI together and not overuse one or the other. That's what I like about Final Destination 5 as well. But I'm not there yet. So we got to go to our third, number 3 on the list. We are at the halfway point. And before we get here, I want to say something that I should have said at the beginning. There are spoilers ahead, especially with these next couple. There's a lot of spoilers. And usually when I do a ranking video, it's really hard for me to determine what's number 1 and what's number 2. Those are usually the ones I bounce back and forth on. But for the Final Destination franchise, number 2 and number 3 were harder for me. So these next 2 flipped around a lot. So I'm going to go back and start with you, Charlotte. What is your number 3? What's your middle ground, the middle favorite for you?
When I usually rank the Final Destination series, I do it by the opening sequences.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And a little different, but
no, that's a good way because that's what the Final Destination is known for.
Right. So I want to say that if I rank them all up together, between the car crash, the racing accident, the actual car log accident, which had me terrified to drive. The roller coaster was probably the weakest opening for me.
Yeah.
And then the kills in that were not bad. I think the kills in the 3rd and 4th were more of a letdown, but I'm going to have to say the 3rd was the worst. The 4th was better. And the 2nd for me, it was more of like I hope it's better because I had so much faith placed in the first film. I really hope they continued with the Tony Todd character.
Yeah.
Right. And kind of went further with that because I really wanted to see Death embodied almost.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's working at the morgue, right? He's the mortician. And I always thought that was fascinating.
Yeah.
So if I'm really making my list, but it's so hard. It's like choosing your favorite child. But I do have a favorite this time. So I guess If I have to rank the worst, it's going to be third, fourth, second, first, fifth.
Oh, we know her number
fascinating.
2 and number 1.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you. If we're doing number third, number 3 for me is 5.
Really?
5?
Yes.
What?
5, yes.
Why?
Why? No, here's the thing. So, I mean, yeah, we jumped the gun a little bit, which is fine. I like 1, 2, and 5 in that order, but I like 5. So most people don't know that the guy that wrote the original one, Jeffrey, is a good friend of mine.
Right.
And I've always loved the very first one, and I love the first one because it's like the intro to like this sort of
And it's beautiful.
whole world, yeah. But then I like number 5 because
It's massive.
I remember when number 5 came out, I was excited about it, and I went to go see it, and Jeffrey goes, "You're gonna love it because of something that happens at the end." And I said, "Oh, okay." And I watched it, and then I actually liked number 5, and I thought it was really cool. And I thought the opening sequence of the whole suspension bridge was fucking phenomenal.
It was incredible.
But, and that's, I can see why you like that as the first one. But then to find out that it was a prequel.
Come on, Brad! Get on the phone! Get on the phone!
I was like, oh shit. Like to me, it was like,
That's
what
my
made it.
favorite.
That's what made it to me. Was
Better
like,
than the first. They're still on flight 800.
oh, of course. Yeah, I know. I can get why you say, but to me, just number 3. I mean, number 5 is my third favorite.
So what's your first favorite?
Number 1, always. But we're not there yet. We're not there yet.
For me,
What about you?
my
What's number
third
3 for you?
favorite, Final Destination 1 is my third
Really?
favorite.
Really?
And I bounced back and forth on this. Look,
You're kidding.
it
I'm
started
telling
it all.
Jeffrey.
No, it started it all. And again, the third best Final Destination movie is better than a lot of other franchise movies. But hear me out. This is where I think the movie lacks. I don't like Clear and Alex's love story. I think that was really, really thrown together, really jumbled together. Here's why, because when Jeffrey originally wrote the script, the way that this ended was with Alex dying in the garage and Clear being pregnant and giving birth. And that was the new life that stopped everything. So they took that ending out. It really convoluted that whole love story to me.
Yeah.
Miss Luton's death, I thought, was really over the top because for 3 reasons. 1, she pours coffee into her mug, right?
Yeah.
And she looks at the mug and gets scared of it and throws the coffee. But yet she still pours another drink in the mug to drink from the mug.
Yeah.
If the mug scared you, you shouldn't have drank from it, for 1. For 2, the hot and the cold from the coffee to the vodka would not have cracked the cup that quick. It wouldn't have happened. And 3, there is no vodka that I've ever seen that is flammable. So that would not have caught fire. And again, this might be nitpicky on my part, but there is a lot of great. It was such an original story when it came out. Tony Todd was absolutely terrifying as that mortician. When you see Tony Todd the first time, everybody freaked out. Like, yes, Tony Todd, Candyman, let's go. So that was really important to me. And when Terry gets hit by the bus, like that.
I wanted that so badly.
Yeah.
I hated that character.
And then when Billy gets beheaded, to me, it was like, dude, where's my head? You know, the dude, where's my car guy just got his head ripped off and by the train. And there was so much more about this movie that well, if you would have asked me this 3 weeks ago, I would have told you 1 was my favorite. But because we were doing this, I went back and rewatched every single one of these films.
Yes, you did.
1 does not hold up as well for me because there's a lot. Like when he can't get out of the car at the Carter, when he can't get out of the car at the train tracks. But then Devon Sawa, again, nothing against Devon Sawa. I absolutely love him. Final Destination, Idle Hands, Little Giants, that dude, Casper, he defined my childhood. He's a person I really look up to. But that dude is no way strong enough to rip a guy out of a car and break the seatbelt. That just would never happen. Never happen. So that's another reason why, to me, number 1 comes in at number 3.
My answer.
No, don't. I love it.
You're making me change my answer.
Honey, I'm just so confused about what your number 1 actually is right now.
Well, we're about to find out number 2. I'll go first this time. So my number 2 in the Final Destination franchise is Final Destination 5.
Oh, really? Oh,
yes, it's 5. I knew it was 5.
Final Destination 5 comes in at number 2. And here's why. The suspension bridge part is genuinely terrifying. Genuinely scary. I agree with you.
Because
Now
those
there are
I
some
think more
deaths
so than
on
anything.
the bridge part that look really bad, like the impalement, how his eye comes
The
down. Like
hot
there's a lot of,
car.
but I just don't like the way a lot of them look. I don't like Isaac the pervert in this movie. He's one of those people that I just really couldn't stomach. And you change the rules in this movie, and it's something that really I don't like, changing the rules this late, where if you kill somebody, it will skip over you because you took someone's life. That's a part that to me really bummed me out, because that's never been in play in the first 4 movies. And you're telling, it's kind of like with Jason Goes to Hell. 9 movies into the franchise, you're going to tell me Jason has a sister and he's really a worm. That's kind of how this is for me. Final Destination 5. Well, if you kill somebody, you're saving your own life.
Well,
And
my question for you, Kenny, is, I mean, in the original script where Claire has the child, don't you think it's sort of
you cut out really bad.
with Final Destination 5, A Life for Life? So I was wondering that in the original script of Final Destination, can you hear me?
Yeah,
My internet's unstable. I'm sorry. Yeah.
My life's unstable. So the original Final Destination, which had Claire getting pregnant, I figured it was kind of a homage with A Life for a Life. I don't know why they changed it.
Well, I mean, and that's but the thing is, it wasn't really a life for a life. It was new life stops death.
Yeah.
So if you have new life, it ruins death's plan. I never said anything about taking life. And that's why I think this one really bothered me, because it was always new life, not taking life. Now, that's the negatives to me. Now, when we're talking about the positives of Final Destination 5, way more positives than negatives. Like you said, finding out that it was a prequel, unfortunately for me, that was ruined.
It was my favorite part of the whole movie.
Well, it was ruined for me before I
plane.
got to see the movie. Somebody had told me, dude, you'll never believe it. It turns out it's a prequel. And
What?
I was so pissed off to find
No,
that
I had
out.
no idea. Nobody told me.
Yeah,
I
I'm so jealous.
Past a little bit.
Not even Jeffrey told me, and I talked to him beforehand.
Really?
Yeah. I had no idea.
I'll badger him whenever I talk to him.
Well, and this one brought back Tony Todd as well. And then like David Koechner, like the bridge scene where he gets all the asphalt on him. Like that was awesome. The gymnastics scene where you think she's gonna step on the tack, but then she ends up doing the flip and breaking her neck.
I literally cannot handle that death scene every time. I can't deal with that.
Between that and the laser eye surgery,
Yeah.
I can't watch those scenes.
Well, and then you look at another thing about this movie that I want to talk about is I've talked about a lot of these movies having really shitty characters. This movie doesn't. The main characters in this movie, you feel for them and you fall in love with them, and then you see them on the plane and you find out this is Flight 180, and your heart just starts to explode inside your body because your heart's breaking, and then it starts to catch on fire, and you see her go out and get cut in half by the wing, and him just sitting there burning alive. And it's just like, this isn't just 2 random kids in a slasher. You've grown this whole movie to love these characters, and they're 2 of the best in the whole franchise. And then for them to just go out like that, I have goosebumps right now. Like, no
and
joke.
then you hear the song again.
Oh shit!
It's like what Jessica's gonna win, and then you see Alex saying "squirt off the plane," and it's like everything's happening all over. And that's why, for me, I'm like an oldie, and I'm very nostalgic. So when I saw that, I'm like, yes, it makes sense now. But I do understand what you mean about changing the rules. But I wonder, could the franchise had survived if they hadn't tried to change the rules up a little bit?
But we will find out when we do our next video together, because Final Destination 6 will be coming out next year. So we can talk about that once Final Destination 6 comes out.
Is it number 6 or are they rebooting it?
What?
I heard it's a sequel, not a remake. It's a sequel.
Now that I didn't hear. Yeah, they're doing a new one.
Where have I been?
Well, either way, after that, we are all going to come back on and talk about that one. But for now, let's go process of elimination. You guys already know where we're at. Michael already said his favorite is number 1, Final Destination. Charlotte said her favorite is Final Destination 5. And by process of elimination, you have figured out mine is Final Destination 2. I
I'm surprised.
Shocking.
I'm surprised by that.
The only thing that I don't like about Final Destination 2, and when I was making my notes, I literally wrote gross, was the fact that they killed off Devin Sawa off screen. When you killed Alex off screen by a falling fucking brick, that drove me nuts. So again, gross.
No, but here's the thing. Now, I'm not saying that the way he died is great, but you always know how sequels work. If everybody lives in the first one, they always die in the second one.
But I want to see it.
For the most part.
You know what I mean? Like if you're bringing them back, but that goes back into what we're saying. We had that with Clear. Clear dies in this movie. And actually, while we're talking about the deaths in the movie, let's see a little montage over top of this. You have some of the best kills with the log truck. You have the kid getting crushed by the glass.
Yes.
You have the ladder going through the eye. Again, this isn't going in order, guys. I'm sorry. But you have the woman getting decapitated by the elevator. There's so many things in this movie that, to me, really catapult this to the top. The deaths are bigger.
That's one where they have the barbecue and the arm gets
Yep.
Yeah, that's
and then the guy gets hit with the fence and cut into a bunch of different pieces.
Yeah.
Now, that's another thing about this movie that I want to talk about that really, really broke my heart watching this movie. When you see, I believe his name is Eugene in the movie, and he's like, death isn't going to take me. I determine my fate. And he starts shooting with the revolver, and he's crying, and everybody around him's like, oh, it's not loaded. And then he opens it up, and it was a full clip. And death was just like, bitch, no, I determine when you die now.
Powerful, actually. I do remember seeing that, and that's why it's not in my.
Yeah. Well, and going back and rewatching this movie, again, I would have never thought this was my favorite. When you go back and rewatch it, even the way when they have the car scene and they're driving and they start talking about how I wouldn't have been here unless I was supposed to get stabbed, but I moved to this school. And you find out that the reason they're all still alive is because of the events of Final Destination 1. That's the reason that these people are still here. So death is really, it's not the logging incident is why they're here. It's because of Flight 180. So Flight 180 is still dominant to the point to where it's affected people this much to where it's still following people. The events of Flight 180, which really go back to, in turn, the events on the bridge. That bridge collapsing, part 5, and him having that premonition and saving everybody wrapped around to the very first one, and that caused everything. And that's another reason why I'm not a big fan of 3 and 4, because they went off of the original story of the original characters and how they were all connected. One thing I want you guys to check out, even if it's through YouTube, if you go and you do the special features on Final Destination 3, this is another saving grace. I meant to talk about it, but it's a special feature, so I can't bring it up because it's not really canon with the film. If you watch Final Destination 3's special features, there is a feature where you find out that the 2 people from Final Destination 2, the guy and the girl that live, they ended up dying in an accident. So you see it in a newspaper clipping that the 2 main characters from Final Destination 2 did end up dying together, the cop, the main lady. And that's another one that you think they're going to make it, because at the end it's the grill and the grill blows up and you see the arm fall on the plate. You're like, oh, that's how it ends, which is an awesome ending. But to find out that they ended up dying is another thing that you guys know that I just said pisses me off. If you're going to kill off your main characters, I want to see it. Scream 5, I'm talking to you. If you're going to kill off main characters, I want to see it happen.
It's too late. It's already filmed. So
I know. Look at all the greats. Look at Nightmare on Elm Street. You have Nightmare on Elm Street 3 that kills Nancy. You have Laurie Strode in Halloween die 7 different fucking times.
Back.
Yeah, it's just like, if you're gonna have your main character, and especially one as big as Devon Sawa, you need to have him killed on screen. I need to see it, even if it's as lame as a falling brick. I want to see it because I think that pays homage and love to that guy and that character. Don't kill him with a brick off screen. That guy was way too smart to be killed by a falling brick off screen. So I want to say this one more time.
Kenny, my question for you, real fast.
Gross.
One more time. Gross.
Is that why? What was the importance of Alex being clairvoyant to the fact where he saw the visions? Do you think there was any importance to that particular character in each? No. Nope.
I really think that, and I think that's what I love the most about this movie, is the franchise in general, is whenever you have like a Carrie or you have something of that nature, it's always they're a special person and they have this special ability. And they always try to play on why they have the special ability. And Final Destination is just like, fuck you. This person's seen it, and you're going to deal with it, and you're going to like it. And we're like, deal. Sounds good. So
I want to... No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I want to say this. So when I was thinking about like the things that I liked when it came to the movies, the reason why I liked number 1 is because it was the original, and it's always hard for me to like not make the original my first, because if we didn't have the original, we wouldn't have the franchise. So it's always hard because I'm like, even with like when it comes to like Nightmare, Friday the 13th, it's like, yes, Jason wasn't in the first one, but it's like if we didn't, so that's par for the course. But
Right.
like what I liked about the first one, even if they never made the following 4 or 5, whatever, what I liked about the first one is that this was the first time that like these people were supposed to die and they cheated death and death came back, and I liked that. Like that to me was what drew me to the, because I saw it before I knew Jeffrey, so like I watched it and I thought it was great. Now I know that Jeffrey wrote the story for the second one, right? So I like the second one because it tied into the first.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why it's weird because I made 1 and 2 my 2 favorites, but then I made number 5 my third because I love number 5 that it was like a prequel, and it really felt like what the original. That's why I think those are like the 3 strongest.
Yeah.
And that's why I think 3 and 4 are like, hey, yeah, they're part of the franchise, but they're out here. It's like,
Right.
which is what you.
Well, and to me, it's a
alluded
lot
to
of the
first.
effects from 3 and 4. I mean, the visual effects. I get that. Something I've never been a fan of is 3D.
Yeah.
It's something that it gives me a headache. And when you try to take a movie like Final Destination and make it into 3D, it really shows up in the kills. When you go back and do a rewatch, it really
They did
shows.
the same thing with Friday the 13th Part 3.
And Jurassic
Which-
Park even.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't say much because Friday the 13th Part 3 is still my favorite in that
can't watch
franchise.
it.
But
No, but
because of the
it's-
story.
No, but the thing is like it's because it's 3D. They make it gratuitous on purpose because it's 3D.
Yeah.
So I
Right.
get that.
See, what I like about Friday 3 is they didn't do that a lot with the kills. They did it with like the yo-yo and here, smoke this pot.
Yeah, of course.
You know,
of course.
stuff like
I did
that.
I
But-
did appreciate that.
Yeah, but they didn't do it a lot with the kills. And Final Destination is, let's be completely honest. After you get past 1 and 2, 3 and 4, the stories in there, the stories were bad. The
Yeah.
characters
Well,
were
they
bad.
suck, if you think about
But
that.
yeah, but you had to use, I think for me, it was more of a novelty to use 3D because they knew their stories were not as strong as Final Destination 1 and 2 and 5. Obviously, they didn't know 5. I think 5 might have been in 3D as well. Actually, now that
Oh,
I'm
I
thinking
don't
about it, I don't
No,
remember for sure.
that's not 3D.
It might.
know
No,
3 and 4 were.
he's right. I think you're right. I think number 5 was free. I saw it in the theater, and I think it was 3D.
Can you Google it real fast?
Yeah, I'm gonna
pretty sure
Google
it's
it,
Not 3D.
but
I'm pretty sure there was one time in the 90s I was wrong, but I am pretty sure that Final Destination 5 was in 3D.
Well, I'm wrong all the time.
I'm looking at-
but
I'm looking it up
I'm
right now.
really positive. I know that the Final Destination was 3D. I don't think 5
Yeah.
was. But for
I know
me,
4
3D
was.
is 4. Yeah, 4 was. I think 3D, especially in the early 2000s. Not like we're in a different century, but the early 2000s. I think, after the original film, 2000, with the plane crash and Alex and Claire and that whole situation, which, even there were certain kills in that I wasn't a fan of, but Tony Todd, I wish they just brought him back for every movie.
Mhm.
But I think with 3D, it can be overkill sometimes, especially.
Well, they
if
went
you
through a
don't
little
have practical effects.
phase there where like Final Destination was in 3D, My Bloody Valentine 3D, Saw 3D. They went through a little phase where everything in horror went 3D for a
It
little
looked
bit. Even
worse.
Clash of the Titans was in 3D.
And
it was like,
looks worse in
dude.
3D.
Yeah.
So what do we got, Michael? Was it 3D?
I'm looking. You guys, I've been drinking wine, so calm down.
So I can't say too much about the projects I'll be in, but none of them will be in 3D.
Good. That's made me happier.
Yeah, I think it was in 3D. Yeah, it looks
No,
like.
wait, what?
Yeah.
Show me. No, that's the Final Destination.
You guys, I
That's
don't
not
know.
5.
I don't know if it was in 3D.
Let me see.
You look. She's gonna look. But
You guys, one thing I would like people in the comments, let us know how you like our rankings. Let us know what your rankings are. I would love to know
Yeah.
where we're right, where we're wrong, how I'm right, how they're wrong.
It's not in 3D.
it was not in 3D.
No.
It should have been though. 'Cause it would have been great in 3D.
But it was so great to have it tied back together to the original flight to Paris. That for me,
Yeah.
that was what made the movie.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't realize it was a period piece unless you were aware at the time that
Yeah.
no, we don't have cell phones. And yes,
Right.
we're on a computer that's a desktop. That's what really brought it home
Yeah.
for me.
Well, it's interesting because I was watching the movie and I was enjoying it. So none of that. I didn't think about that. I was just enjoying the movie.
Well, and I never went into these movies looking for a twist anyway, because you never had a twist in any of these movies, really.
No, you didn't need it because from the beginning we knew you escaped death. Death came and collected what was his. Like we knew that we going into.
But I didn't like the twist in 5. I will be honest. I wasn't a fan of things just switching like that. But I thought it was interesting because
Yeah.
I think the franchise really needed something new.
Yeah.
And you told me there's another 6th film coming
No,
out.
they've been
I
talking
hope-
about redoing the franchise for a while.
Well,
So
you know
Mhm.
everyone in it, so I.
no, I don't
Yeah.
know anybody in 6. At least
I'm
I don't-
excited for 6. Well,
But I'll tell you,
guys,
I think
don't go anywhere, guys. I got a couple more questions for you guys. Obviously, I want to talk to you for a second. Everybody else, thank you so much for checking this out. Make sure you're showing love in the comments. Make sure you're hitting these guys up on social media and following their accounts. As always, guys, keep
Please,
talking
follow us.
horror, stay what you are, and we'll see you guys soon.
we